Creating a setup for content creation or streaming doesn't have to break the bank. In this video, we will be designing a setup that costs under $500. We'll be covering stands, cameras, microphones, lighting, and more. If you see anything you like, I'll leave some affiliate links in the description for things mentioned, and that would be much appreciated if you do purchase anything and use those links below. Thank you. So kicking things off, we got this pole from SmallRig. It's just under £50 and it's pretty much mount to your desk. What's cool about it is it has a 90-degree arm, which is optional, and you can mount it to the pole and you can essentially add things such as a phone, a webcam, a light, or even potentially a small camera. The pole itself expands up to 35.4 inches and had a weight capacity of 10 kilograms for the main pole and 2 kilograms for the 90-degree horizontal arm. So you could potentially have a light on top and then your phone, webcam or camera on the arm itself, or vice versa. And I guess speaking of smartphones, you don't have to rush out and buy an expensive camera. In fact, one of the best cameras you may already have is in your pocket. You can use your smartphone, whether it's Android or iOS, as a wireless webcam. Now, it won't be perfect, but it'll be fine for starting off. And if you want something that's a bit more permanent or easier to set up and more convenient, since using your phone as a webcam isn't really that convenient, then we'll take a look at another option very soon. So there's pretty much an app called Droidcam, which is free, although I would recommend paying for the paid version, which is like a one-off fee of under £15, since it removes the watermark. How this works is you download the Droidcam app onto your phone, install the free OBS plugin, then input the phone's IP address, which it shows on the app, into the OBS, check the port number and all the other different settings, and then apply and OK. And just like that, in less than 5 minutes, you could have your own makeshift free webcam. If you have a recent iPhone and Mac on the same Apple ID, then you don't need to use this app and it should just automatically work. Of course, you'll probably need a phone mount of some sort, so I'll leave some cheap options in the description down below to check out. Now you could mount it onto the pole I discussed earlier, or a tripod or something along those lines. That's quite cool, but the problem is you'll have to remember to charge your phone and then potentially have it plugged in if needed. It could even heat up the phone quite a bit, which could potentially shorten the lifespan of the battery and or the phone. And plus, well, it's inconvenient not being able to use your phone since it's being used to the webcam. This is where today's sponsor comes to the rescue. Meet the Obsbot Meet 2. This is a tiny 4K AI webcam with a 1/2-inch CMOS sensor and an f1.8 aperture. It has advanced phase auto focus with auto framing and hand gestures. Plus it has a vertical mode, so if you want to live stream on TikTok or vertical streaming platforms, then you can simply just take the webcam, put it 90 degrees using the included magnetic monitor mount, and then you can use your webcam vertically. This is a game changer, and to be honest, I don't think I've seen a webcam do that before, so that's quite cool. Of course, the auto framing and hand gestures are such an amazing thing as well, since the webcam can keep you in the frame as you are moving about. So if you go further back in your stream or video, then the webcam can keep you in the frame. You've also got the option of installing the Obsbot Control Center software, which is available for both Windows and Mac, and I would highly recommend doing it if you do get this webcam, since you'll get the most out of it. There you can adjust the gesture controls, the zooming, the image quality, and the webcam has built-in dual omnidirectional microphones with noise reduction, and therefore you can choose the levels of noise reduction you would like to utilize if you choose to use the built-in microphones. This is so handy, since if you've got like a noisy gaming computer right next to you, then it could potentially block out a lot of the noise coming from the machine, and your audience will be able to hear you more clearly. The webcam itself has a nice aluminium body to it, and you can even mount it to a tripod or even that pole I just discussed earlier using the 3¼ inch thread mount on the bottom. This webcam works well in light and dark environments thanks to the 1/2" CMOS sensor with the f1.8 aperture. So let's do a quick video test. So this is the quality of the Obsbot Meet 2. This is noise reduction turned off. If I turn on noise reduction to weak, see what it sounds like. So the conditions are quite dark in this room. I have got the monitor light bar on. Could maybe turn it off. And this is what it's like when the monitor light bar is turned off. As you can see, the webcam has held up quite well in both of those lighting scenarios. And yeah, I mean, look at it. It just fits in the palm of your hands. Like, it's so small and it has quite a lot of features baked into this thing. If you'd like to find out any more information or purchase this webcam, I'll have all of the information and links in the description down below. And a big thanks to Obsbot for sponsoring this portion of the video. Okay, so we got the stand itself and the camera sorted out. What about the capture card? Now this of course is optional, since if you're just doing talking head videos, then you'll probably not need a capture card. If you game on your console or have another device you'd like to add into the stream, then you're probably going to need a capture card, assuming that whatever it is you're doing is not on the streaming computer itself. There are quite a few decent options out there, so I'll try not to overwhelm you with various options, but there are quite a few that do look quite decent. So first of all, you can use the Ugreen video capture card. This had a 4K 60Hz HDR and VRR pass-through, which is great for, well, console gamers, since you can plug in the device, capture it on a computer, but also output it onto your gaming monitor. However, it is limited to 1080p capture. The Elgato Game Capture Neo could be a good alternative. They seem to be quite similar in terms of functionality, and that could be a better alternative for you. Here's a little bit of a more unconventional one, but the OC GoStream M2 looks to be another good alternative device. This basically has dual 4K HDMI inputs and a single output, and what that means is you could plug in 2 HDMI devices and switch between them on the stream, and it even has picture-in-picture support. So let's just say you're gaming on your console and you have like a camera and you want to plug in your camera via HDMI if it supports it, then you can do that, and then you can have your game and you at the top left or right or wherever on the stream, and that could work quite well. It's quite a simplified way of doing that. And the one that I personally use is the Elgato Camlink 4K. The only thing is you'll probably need an HDMI splitter, since this doesn't have HDMI out. It's literally just plug the device into it and then it goes straight into the computer. And even if you did use a splitter, I'm not sure how well it works, since I've never used a splitter on the device itself. But it's still a fantastic device and it supports 4K at 30 FPS. Of course, if your budget doesn't quite cover those capture cards I've mentioned, there are plenty of other ones that are quite a bit cheaper. And if you're just looking for something cheap and cheerful, then there should be plenty out there that fulfills your needs. I'll leave some decent alternatives in the description down below. So having great audio on your stream or video is quite important, and microphones can be quite expensive and overwhelming, not to mention the vast majority of just loads of different types of microphone connectivity options and so on and so forth. If you're just starting off, I'd probably go for something like this Fifine USB gaming microphone kit. This is a budget-friendly condenser microphone with a boom arm, a shock mount and a pop filter. It has built-in RGB lighting if that's your thing. It could potentially look quite cool on the stream. It also features a quick mute button and gain control. Plus, it's powered by USB. So no having to research audio interfaces and XLR and all that sort of stuff. It's simply plug and play. What I love about this kit is it comes with pretty much everything you need, including the arm itself. And I believe having an arm to keep the microphone raised off the desk is quite important if you're typing on the keyboard or if you got a drink and you're drinking and it hits the desk, then that could potentially rattle the microphone and it'll not sound very nice for your audience. Of course, if you are moving about on your stream and just want something that's less restrictive, then Fifine also has a wireless microphone, and of course there's other brands out there. Fifine isn't the only one that you can use, but the reason why I chose them again is because they seem to have a decent budget wireless microphone. So it comes with a USB-C receiver or a 3.5mm jack, which is compatible with phones and computers, although it didn't really market computers when I saw, but you should just be able to plug in the USB receiver and the computer should recognize it, or you can use the 3.5mm audio output and plug that into like an audio interface, or if you've got one of those dual purpose headphone jacks, then that should potentially work with that as well. What's nice is it comes with 2 microphones, which is great for interviews or if you want a backup microphone or whatever. The receiver has a display showing the battery levels of both of the microphones, and I'm assuming the receiver itself, as well as a charging case. Lighting can be a very important aspect when it comes to streaming or content creation, since it's pretty much half of the battle. Since if you watch a video with poor lighting, no matter how expensive the camera is, it's just not going to look that good. So there are a few budget options out there, and one of them is free, such as using your window, which is what I'm doing right now, to be honest. It's literally one of the best light sources there is. Now, of course, you have to do it in daylight. Another option is repurposing your existing lights. So if you've got smart lights on your wall or lights in general that are quite decent, then you could potentially repurpose and use those depending on their color temperature and the features and so on and so forth. Now what I like to do is use the nanoleaf panels I have on the wall, set them to white and then increase the brightness, and that has a nice sort of fill light on this side of my face. Of course I'm not using it right now since I'm using the light from the window, but it's very useful when I'm shooting in the evenings. And it goes hand in hand with the newer light I have with a 24-inch softbox. Another option is you could potentially get a dedicated video light with a softbox, and I appreciate that might not always be the best option or the most suitable option for some people, since it does take up quite a bit of room, although I have seen that there are some softboxes out there that are quite a bit narrower in terms of thickness than traditional softboxes, so it could be worth exploring those options. The advantages of softboxes are the fact that it covers a much of a larger surface area, of course depending on the size that you choose, and it helps diffuse the light, creating more softer shadows and just a softer look in general. A good alternative could be the newer MS60 65 watt 5600K video light. You could potentially pair that up with a 24-inch softbox like what I've done, or a larger one if needed. Another advantage to using softboxes is you can get these grid attachments which help sort of position the light more on you rather than the light just spilling across the whole of the room or a large portion of the room. Of course you will need to get a dedicated stand as well. These are fantastic lights, but they also can take up quite a bit of room. So if you're starting off, then be mindful that you'll probably have to create a bit of room to get these lights set up how you want them. I would probably put them at a 45-degree angle. Of course you do have to have it constantly connected to power as well, but since you're live streaming, I would imagine that wouldn't be an issue anyway. A more of a smaller and more manageable alternative could be these video lights. Again, I have one from Newer, but it's been discounted for some reason. But I found a company called Valeno, I think that's how you say it, Valeno, and they make a video light that has a built-in 4000 mAh battery, which is chargeable via USB-C, and you can even use it while it's charging. That is fantastic because the video lights that I found and the one I use typically use these Sony batteries which means again you'll have to go out and purchase these Sony batteries, and it just adds extra cost and complexity. This light also has a dial on the back, which you can adjust it from 3200K to 5600K, and that sort of makes it the light more warm or more cool depending on the sort of vibe you're going for and your requirements, etc. So we've got the pole, the camera, the capture card if you're using one, the audio and the lighting setup. I hope this video has been useful, and if it has, please hit the like, subscribe and the bell notification so you will be notified when I next upload. A huge thanks to Obsbot for sponsoring a portion of this video. If you want to know more information about the Meet 2 and where to purchase it, I'll have all of the information in the description down below. If you like videos like this, then why not check out one of my previous videos here. Thanks for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and God bless.